It's now time for the Sudsy Wudsy Show, brought to you by Sudsy Wudsy. Sudsy Wudsy. It's an all-purpose cleaner. It's a car wash. It's a bubble bath. Yes, it's Sudsy Wudsy. Sudsy Wudsy now proudly presents The Adventures of Jimmy Ballpoint, Private Investigator, Ear, Eyes, and Nose, the complete package. Jimmy Ballpoint.
This is where I work, the city. It used to be a nice place with nice people. But like everything else, they left. And now the city is a dark and gritty city, with dark and gritty sidewalks, with dark and gritty taxis. Downright depressing if it wasn't for the gum stuck under the tables at the automat. I'm Jimmy Ballpoint, private investigator, ear, eye, and nose, the complete package. My office is up 3 flights of stairs, straight up, right above a flop house. A little office with a desk, chair, sink, and a couch. Like I said, a dark and gritty place, but it's just right for a guy like me. It's Friday, and in this city, the sidewalks roll up after 6 o'clock. But that doesn't mean that everything gets quiet. Friday night means payday for a lot of mugs, and they all seem to find Angel's Bar to be a gathering spot. It's also a place where I can get the comings and goings of what's what around here. Who knows? Might even get lucky and pick up a case or two to pay for the rent. Oh yeah, the rent. That's due in 2 weeks. I better get an earfill while I can. The bar stool at the end, next to the phone booth, is empty. Better grab onto that one while I can. After all, most of those mugs just wander in, and before they get pretty well liquored up and guaranteed a 40 below. Oh great. I had to get a stool that has one leg that's shorter than the other. It's a good thing I have some experience riding these things. The mug to the right of me is really dipping into the sauce tonight. Seems as though the mug is going through a nasty divorce. I wonder if he's met Vernon. As I get my usual, a pint of amber glow, the mug next to me says that he used to be a regular customer of amber glow, as usual. But that couldn't dampen the misery he's going through now. Now he gets the good stuff. The stuff that, if it sat long enough in the glass, etches a skull in the bottom of the cup. Sheesh. He tells me his name is Mark. He swings his head back and forth like it's on some kind of swivel or something, and asks me, does his name want to make me cry? I simply nod no. Then he tells me it makes him cry. After only 2 weeks of marriage, it's over. He tells me he gave her everything. Money, jewelry, mink coat, beautiful shoes, and a vast, two-door sports car, shiny red. I asked the mug, "Where is she now?" He says she's probably past Hoboken by now. That's a pretty fast sports car, you know. Okay, Mark. I spotted the bar stool next to the guy and slowly slipped off my stool and got on that one. I patted the mug on the shoulders, wished him well, as he struggled to put the cork back into the bottle he was juggling with. The next mug to me seemed to be a sober type, focused, a concentration on row after row of bottles lined up in front of the bar mirror. His stare was serious. His lips would pucker now and then. His head nodded up and down slightly as he wrinkled his forehead. He then turned to me and asked me if being in a bottle was all that bad. After all, he said, "At least you know where you've been, and you know where you're going. A simple life, all figured out for you." He then turned to me, and his stare was crisp and disciplined. He said to me that being in a bottle all your life is like looking out a window, just waiting for someone to reach out and decide your fate. If you're lucky enough to get a clear bottle, you see a lot about the world around you. In a green or amber bottle, you have to guess. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong. And that narrowing at the top, not much to look forward to now, is it? Your whole life at the mercy of a cork. His stare focused on the bottle in front of him as he rolled it round and round in his hand. He then asked me if I'd like a drink. I thought for a moment. Then the mug pointed to the long row of bottles and said, "Go ahead, pick one." I leaned back and passed the guy, spotting a vacant stool next to him, and that stool was next to Wrinkles. I gave the mug with the fascination of bottles and their contents a quick thanks, but no thanks. I gotta meet someone. I made a deliberate turn and walked over to Wrinkles, making sure the mug I was just listening to and sat next to saw me greeting Wrinkles. Wrinkles made no effort to notice me as he flipped through his small notepad, a notepad he always had with him of losers, that old man pierogi. Wrinkles was like a clock on due days and in what amounts. I noticed a shot glass turned upside down on the bar. Wrinkles was on the clock for old man pierogi. Wrinkles never drank on the clock. That was different when he went off the clock and returned to his small one-room apartment. Kinda hard to figure this mug out. He did hit the hard stuff, but then he returned to Angel's Bar, like a home away from home. I watched as Wrinkles pushed each page over with his thumb, then stopped and glanced off in the distance when he came across something important. I gave a look at the page and it contained a woman's name. Strange. Wrinkles didn't collect from the skirts. He didn't feel comfortable about that line of work. He then slowly tore the page out of his notebook and tossed it onto the floor on the other side of the bar. He looked over at me with that "what are you looking at" glare. He then muttered something about the runners and the clockmakers. The runners were Wrinkle's main line of work. Those were the mugs that were behind paying their back loans from Old Man Pierogi. The clockmakers were the timely type. Wrinkles had respect for those types. A man of his word deserves that. Respect was a big deal in his line of work. A very big deal. See, Wrinkles had rules. Rules he set and followed to the last detail. Like I said, an easy fit for Wrinkles. Much of life is like a book, he'd say, page by page, printed by Wrinkles himself. No shades of gray, just rules. Only with Wrinkles, the choices were simple. Walk into his world and get ready to be wide awake to the comings and goings of things. Not off for even a second, and that nap could be permanent. A slice of life around here, not to be taken lightly. A glimmer of light and a breeze off the street entered the bar. There in the doorway was, of all people, Snitch. I couldn't help but think to myself, this ought to be good. The one mug in all creation that's about to be reintroduced to life according to Wrinkles. See, Snitch is always playing the ponies. The only problem with that is that Snitch isn't very good at it. Day in and day out, he's into Old Man Pierogi for some serious bread. He hasn't seen Wrinkles sitting next to me. His bread is about to be singed around the edges in a few seconds. Wrinkles leans back and glances past me, curious about who and what was coming into the bar. Well, 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 Wrinkles mutters to himself. Where I was sitting was about to get busy. I'd better let Wrinkles and Snitch have their moments. I discreetly left my bar stool, gave Wrinkles a wide berth, and pulled up a stool further down the bar. As I settled in, I noticed to my right 3 wallets, 2 watches, a couple of rings, a fountain pen, a couple of fancy lighters, and a silver cigarette case. I didn't have to look at who was on the bar stool next to me. It had to be Fingers Malloy. Now, Fingers was a mix of smiles, handshakes, and only too happy to relieve a mug of anything and everything that wasn't nailed down. He was, to put it bluntly, an artist, a professional's professional, at the pickpocket racket. Malloy was tolerated by Old Man Pierogi because a part of the odds and ends that Malloy collected during the day found itself in the possession of Old Man Pierogi. Fact was, Malloy was so good that what he did, the heat could never pin anything on the mug. Malloy used to look at it this way. Only take enough fruit off the tree to feed a mug for a day. Just don't strip the tree bare and kill it. Malloy was a contradiction of sorts, much like life itself around here. He'd fleece a mug good one moment, then put it all in the collection pot for the orphanage the next. Talk was, Malloy was an orphan himself once, but no one could prove it. Malloy got off his stool and headed for the door, leaving a wallet and a couple of rings. Wrinkles reached over and pocketed the leavings. As Malloy opened the front door, the sunlight from the street went back and forth across the tables scattered around the bar. An assortment of those that preferred the comfort of a chair and a table to lean on. A mixture of all types. I spotted the taxi drivers that usually occupied the bar corner, with Flippo the clown, Stuttering Stephen, Danny Morbid, and Blinks. Flippo still had on his clown getup. Kind of felt comfortable like that, and even more so when he polished his red nose. Stuttering Stephen tried to chime in on the conversation from time to time, but by the time he got 2 words out of his mouth, everyone at the table was on their 3rd round of drinks. Danny Morbid was his usual depressing, down-and-out self. When he got too far out of it, Flippo would douse him with a splash of his seltzer bottle, and if that didn't work, holding up a custard pie at the ready usually did the trick. Over by the piano was Knuckles, a monk that just drifted in one day and made himself comfortable. Sitting next to him was Old Man Pierogi's niece, a gal that wanted to be a nightclub singer. And with Knuckles tapping on the ivory keys, they both got every stray cat within 3 blocks screaming. Well, well, look who just dropped in. If it ain't Hubba Hubba LaRue, our own socialite. LaRue is a regular line item on the missing persons page down at the precinct. Then she pops up down near Pier 40 at the docks when the fleet is in. The light is dim where LaRue sits. Probably just as well. The doll has enough pancake makeup on to fill a rack of biscuits. I kinda feel sorry for LaRue. She's from money, and a lot of it. The only thing is, that's all she's got. The years haven't been good to LaRue. A socialite of another time and place. The sound of a chair moving across the floor catches my attention, along with the sounds of a woman's heels getting closer and closer. I turn and spot this crazy dame that's a receptionist down at the city's morgue. The dame walks around with a long send cigarette that needs lighting all the time, needs lighting. In a slow and sultry move, she puts the cigarette up to her ruby red lips and bats those hazel brown eyes at me, motioning me for a light. Just then, this arm in a musty-smelling coat reaches across my face with a kitchen match and gives the lady a light. It's Peekaboo Riley from down on the waterfront. Now, Peekaboo has about 3 teeth in his entire head, with a patch over his left eye. That arrangement is compliments of Wrinkles. See, Riley and Wrinkles had a run-in, and Wrinkles keeps Riley's eye in a jar, just for safekeeping. Riley started to smile when the front door to the bar swung open, and there standing in the doorway was Rita, the dame that slings hash at Carney's Diner across the street. See, Rita and Riley are a number now. Not a good one, but a number. Rita glared at Riley, and Riley's smile was gone. The match, still lit, was hastily pushed into Riley's peacoat pocket. Riley took one slow step after the other towards the front door. Riley turned sideways and fairly slid by Rita, still in the doorway. As Rita left, the doorway closed. The air from the street slowly found its way into the bar with that aroma of hash and meatloaf clinging to it. I looked at my pocket watch and thought it'd be best if I left this assortment of comings and goings at Angel's Bar and headed to my office. As I closed the door at Angel's behind me, Kelly was walking towards me. Kelly and I go back to a time when she and I were a number. A complicated arrangement, but it worked, on and off from time to time. Kelly smiles and asks me, "How's it going, tough guy? Buy a girl a drink?" I smiled and suggested dinner at my place. She told me that she had dinner. I asked, "How about dessert?" I offered my arm, and she accepted. She then asked if I found anything interesting at Angel's. I told Kelly, "I always find Angel's interesting, like a college of life, you know, the Stools of Higher Learning."